On today's episode of Time About the Movies, a couple big high-profile releases for President's Day weekend 2012, including Nicolas Cage returning to the role of Ghost Rider with the help of the guys who made Crank. Surely this could work, right? Well, as Chris Berman once said, that's why they play the game. Just use that quote to change it around to movies-related stuff. But we also have Tom Hardy and Chris Pine pining for the love of Reese Witherspoon as CIA agents in This Means War. Another movie that had potential, but not so much at the end. But we do at least get one good movie out of this. Disney and Studio Ghibli have another great movie for us this weekend, The Secret World of Arrietty, based off The Borrowers. We'll take a look at those three movies coming your way next. This is Time About the Movies for February 17th, 2012. February 17th, 2012. How did you screw this up? Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the three films for February 17, 2012. And of course we start off with the biggest of the new releases, and that is Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. And you would think that after the first Ghost Rider movie was a bad film, which despite that made a ton of money, let's bring in the guys who made Crank. The Crank movies are fun films. This can't possibly fail by any means necessary. I mean, it seems like this is the perfect mentality for how to do a Ghost Rider movie with those guys on board. Well, not so much. Johnny Blaze is back once again, played by Nicolas Cage, a man who made a deal with the devil who calls himself Mephistopheles, now played by Kieran Hines, at the time now Rourke. And he's on the run to make sure no one is harmed by his alter ego, the Ghost Rider, and he's approached by a monk named Moro, played by Idris Elba, who tells him that he can help be free of the Rider, but first he needs Johnny's help to protect the boy, which Rourke has plans for, to help him take human form. And yeah, like, you would expect a sequel with people who could clearly have fun with the material with the Crank movies to make a good movie out of this, but no. Oh my god, is this movie bad. This movie is somehow even worse than the original Ghost Rider movie, and I don't know how the hell you do that. Like, this is just terrible. Terrible. Not only do the visual effects look even worse than the original film did, the story is much weaker than the first film. This was written by David S. Goyer, who gave us the Batman movies. I mean, what the hell even happened here? Nicolas Cage, do I even need to say anything about his performance? I mean, at least in the first one he's trying, but here, he does not give zero fucks in this performance at all. Like, Cage keeps making the argument that he's wanted to be a superhero for years now, but he has never shown that he is willing to go all in on this. I mean, like, this is the guy that was going to be Superman at one point. Well, technically he did become Superman, but even he knows that he didn't do anything for that Flash movie. I'm sorry, but you'll never convince me that The Flash is a good movie, not on any day of the week. I get it, this was a much lower budgeted film, but I've seen great action movies that cost less than this film's $57 million budget. Cloverfield, Super 8, District 9, for God's sakes. Hell, we just had one recently, Haywire. And there's another one too, I can't remember which one it was, but there are so many better movies that have smaller budgets than this. Stuff from Marvel, the Blade movies, Punisher, Warzone, look better than this movie did. Look, this is awful. This is an awful movie. To its credit, though, there are a couple of things that are positive. For one, I like Kieran Hines in here. I think he actually is a decent villain, although his evil plan's really not all that great, and it's Idris Elba. Idris Elba usually can carry the load of any bad movie regardless, and I'll give the movie credit. It kept the story short, unlike the last movie. This is only 95 minutes long. It does quickly move. It's basically kind of like vapor. Like it comes through, it goes through your ears and then out the other. So it's like you see it and you automatically forget about it all day. It's afterwards. But this is really, really rough. I can't believe how bad this movie was. But then again, these two also worked on Jonah Hex, which was a movie that they wrote, but it was not a good movie by any means necessary. So maybe they were just not meant to make superhero movies. I think that's probably what the biggest problem with the movie is that nobody really wants to make a Ghost Rider movie that actually is kick-ass. Like, this should have been a much better movie than the horrible first film, but it makes me want to give the first movie pennant for being better than this piece of garbage here. Just, I got nothing else for you. Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, just no, just no. Oh boy, and the mediocrity train continues to roll, and here's the next movie that we have here. This Means War.
I feel weird about dating two guys at once. You think Gloria Steinem got arrested and sat in a jail cell so you could act like a little bitch? I think I'm going to hell. Get out there, you get flexible.
Ladies and gentlemen, the kiss of death of movies in 2012, Chelsea Handler. No, seriously, if she was in a movie in 2012, 9 times out of 10, the movie was going to be terrible. And sure enough, a promising concept overall is completely tarnished by well, maybe not her, but just the movie itself was terrible. But then again, we're going to find out in a little bit why it was actually terrible. But you follow best friends and CIA agents, FDR, played by Chris Pine, and Tuck Hansen, played by Tom Hardy, who discover that they are dating the same woman, played by Reese Witherspoon. And they're going after a guy played by Till Schweiger. The villain in this. And you also have Angela Bassett in here. Rebel Wilson also has a cameo in here. Jenny Slate. As I mentioned, Chelsea Handler, Abigail Spencer, Rosemary Harris. So there are good people in this movie. This was originally written as a film that was supposed to be a Martin Lawrence venture. I mean, it was written back in 1998, just after the Martin Lawrence show ended. But I guess the film kind of fell out of production when Lawrence was having his problems behind the scenes, and when I don't know if this was before, it was 1998 was before or after he had that incident where he got naked and started what was it, he had like guns out in front, he was on a highway in California, if I'm not mistaken. One, he was branding a pistol in the middle of an intersection on Ventura Boulevard, and two, this was actually a couple years before that, in May of 1996. But he also was in a 3-day coma when he was starring in Big Mama's House, when he collapsed from heat exhaustion while wearing the suit he was in. I mean, I was off a little bit, but I wasn't too far off from when this was taking place. But bottom line, the film never got made as it was, and so they brought in Chris Pine and Tom Hardy, and a concept overall that is actually not a bad idea. It is a funny concept where you have 2 CIA agents vying for the same woman. The possibilities overall can work, and these are really good actors who can make it work. Unfortunately, though, this is directed by somebody who has never tackled a romantic comedy before. He's done a lot of action movies. Mick G., the guy that gave us the Charlie's Angels movies, and gave us Terminator Salvation, which, truth be told, I like Terminator Salvation. I even like when he went outside of his boundaries with We Are Marshall in between the Charlie's Angels movies and Terminator Salvation. But then the real kiss of death in the movie, Simon Kinberg. That's right, Simon Kinberg. The same Simon Kinberg who gave us such masterpieces of garbage like Dark Phoenix, The 355, The New Mutants. He's a great writer overall, but my God, when you put this guy in the director's chair, yeah. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here, because good Lord, the movies that he's involved in, a lot of them are good ones, but when he fails miserably, he fails miserably. And this movie has just so many things wrong with it, where nothing about it works in the end. You don't have a good director who can handle action and romantic comedies. I mean, the director of James Mangold is somebody who could make that work. I mean, Night and Day wasn't the best movie overall, but at least the guy was trying, and he has more of a pedigree than somebody like Mick G does. And the humor here is just terrible. The comedy is so lame. The setup is so ridiculously... the setup is so good, but yet it's another one of those movies where it takes a good premise and just completely ruins it. I just talked about a movie that just came out this week in Him. Similar concept here, style over substance. I mean, the movie does look slick and cool, and when it is, the action sequences... It can be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, these are capable actors. It's not the actors' fault the movie is terrible. It's just the script is bad, the direction is terrible. Nobody outside of the cast really knew what the hell they were supposed to do. Even the ending doesn't really make a whole lot of... Actually, no, I take that back. The ending does make sense. They actually filmed 3 different alternate endings to this movie. There was one where Chris Pine gets together with Reese Witherspoon, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think that is the one that they actually went with. And then they did another version where Tom Hardy's character got with Reese Witherspoon. And then there was actually a third ending where they basically tell Reese Witherspoon, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. And Chris Pine and Tom Hardy go off together. Which, I mean, if you can't even figure out what your ending is going to be at that point, then maybe you need to rewrite the script. The last scene in the movie, though, is pretty bad. It just feels completely random and out of nowhere. Like, I mean, the conflict starts all over again, so they can. It's a ploy for a cheap sequel for a film that they know is not going to make any money and nobody really cares about. This thing did badly with critics. It may have made its money back, but nobody was going to remember this movie after it came out. And what a shocker! Nobody remembered this movie after it came out. It was not a good movie. It was a terrible film. It wasn't funny. It was a waste of these good actors. It took a really fun idea and just completely botched it with a terrible, terrible script and a bad director who can't handle action and romantic comedy together. And it just didn't work. So yeah, we've had some pretty bad movies, but at least we're going to end the show on a much more positive note with our last movie that we have here, and that is Hayao Miyazaki's latest film, The Secret World of Arrietty.
I'll never forgive you.
I wonder what's taking Papa so long. Why is my first thought always that he got eaten by the cat? What's wrong with me?
Well, considering that Amy Poehler and Will Arnett, who were married at the time of this movie's making, she's probably glad that she would probably be glad if she got eaten by the cat. But yeah, this was a couple years before they eventually split. But I said that this was a Hayao Miyazaki directed film, and I was completely wrong on that. He did write this, but I think this was right after he had retired with Ponyo as his last movie as a director, before eventually coming back with The Boy in the Heron, if I'm not mistaken. But he did write the script for this. This is, of course, based off of The Borrowers, of course, which has been readapted into several different movies that we've kind of talked about on the show. We talked about the John Goodman one from '98. There's also one made for TNT back in the day. I think there was actually another one that was made around this time period, but I don't think it was ever released to theaters. But in this movie, you have a young borrower named Arrietty who befriends a human boy while trying to avoid being detected by the other humans. Specifically in this case, I believe it's his aunt, played by his great aunt, played by Carol Burnett. In the dub version, as I mentioned, Amy Poehler and Will Arnett star as the couple in the tiny couple in this, and the young Arrietty is played by Bridget Mendler, and the young boy is David Henry from Phil of the Future. It was Phil of the Future, right? Yeah, Phil of the Future. No, it's Wizard of Waverly Place, but he's notable as Ted's future son on How I Met Your Mother. You also have Moses. Why can't I not say this guy's name? Moses Arias from Hannah Montana. And what's notable about these particular dubbings of this is that in the English version, there's a couple of other notable names you'll notice. Arrietty's played by Saoirse Ronan, who of course went on to star in Atonement and also in Brooklyn. Olivia Colman, who went on to win the Oscar for The Favorite a couple years later. Mark Strong, you know who he is, a great action character actor. But most notably, this was actually the film debut for Tom Holland, who plays Sho in the English dub version. I don't think I need to tell you what Tom Holland would eventually go on to do. He would later go on to star in stuff like The Impossible, and then of course in The Heart of the Sea, and then of course he would follow that up by playing Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, there you go. Take that for what you will. But really what makes it work is that it's a Studio Ghibli movie, and Studio Ghibli at that time could really do no wrong. Even their lesser films like Howl's Moving Castle and Ponyo, or even stuff like The Cat Returns. I mean, they're not bad movies, but they're certainly pale in comparison to some of their masterpieces like Spirited Away and also My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah, they very rarely made any really bad movies. The worst thing came later on down the road when they made the jump to CG with what was that movie? Trying to remember it without having to look it up. It was like a movie about a rock band or something like that. I think I'm gonna have to look it up. Earwig and the Witch. I thought I remembered the name of it, but yeah, that's the worst thing they've ever done. And really, it's not their fault. They just aren't meant to do CG the way they did with that particular movie, because they would eventually come back with The Boy in the Heron after that. But Hayao Miyazaki still brings out really good Japanese animation even after all these years. When we hear about a new project that's using the work of Studio Ghibli, we get excited about it. There was a great Star Wars short that came out a couple years ago with Baby Yoda in it that was done by the Studio Ghibli. They just announced recently a Pokemon short that they're doing with Studio Ghibli, or a show based off of them with Studio Ghibli. We get excited by watching them do this, and Yeah, this is a story that's been done to death before, but honestly, with the way they did it, they probably made the best version of the borrowers you could possibly imagine, because it's Studio Ghibli's work, and they very rarely do any wrong. And the movie works very well. The animation is great. The voice acting is really good. The dubbing work is actually very well done. And it's a very engaging storyline in a film that works overall. It's a really good film. Not much more I can really say to it that hasn't already been said already, man. Secret World of Arrietty, fantastic, fantastic film. Great to check out. If you love Studio Ghibli's work, you're going to love the hell out of this one. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we take a look at 5 more movies that will wrap up February 2012, including Act of Valor, a film that was made with people who actually were involved in the military. Does that make for a good movie, though? We'll take a look and see for ourselves. We also have Tyler Perry stepping out of his Medea role with a serious drama called Good Deeds. We have David Wayne following up his directorial efforts with Wet Hot American Summer and Role Models, reuniting with Paul Rudd, and this time with Jennifer Aniston in the comedy Wanderlust. Amanda Seyfried's back with a new thriller, Gone. And we also have Sean William Scott in probably the best hockey comedy we've seen since, I was going to say Happy Gilmore, which technically isn't a hockey comedy, but kind of is, but let's just say the Mighty D2 the Mighty Ducks. Let's just go with that. Goon. And I know I'm probably thinking I'm missing some hockey comedies since then, but that's the best one. That's the only one I can think of between this and Goon. But Goon is a very funny movie, and we'll take a look at that. 5 films to take a look at to wrap February 2012 up on the show. Looking forward to getting to that one tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do me the honor of going ahead and hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. And also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the last episode we did. Now, with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.